Hey everybody, welcome to the Fiorentina Juve pregame show. It's me, Dash. I'm here. Dave is here also. He's just doing his incredible John Cena impersonation, guys. So yeah. See, he's right here. But anyways, I'm totally kidding with you guys. So unfortunately, Dave had a little bit of an emergency that he had to step away for and hop to. So he's unable to join us tonight. It's just going to be me for you guys tonight, and just a little bit of a programming update that we are going to be tabling the Super League watch along stream for when Dave gets back, because I know Dave had a lot of thoughts on it, and just wouldn't be fair to him if I did this on my own without really going over things with him. But yeah, so what we're going to do is this is going to be a little bit of a pivoted show. So we're going to be doing more so things on the Fiorentina Juve stuff, kind of going over some lineups. I'll talk a little bit of some of the wiretaps that got leaked from the current investigation that I don't know why Corriere dello Sport put them out there. But the funny thing is Cherubini is definitely a savage for sure. So some of his quotes are pretty freaking hilarious. I'm not going to lie. So we'll talk about that. I'll do some projected lineups, looking at also the lineups that Romeo Agresti also projected, and it is a 4-2-3-1. So that's actually kind of cool. But if you guys did want some Super League content, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a teaser of the double take that we did this week. It's on the YouTube channel, guys. So feel free to take a peek at it whenever you guys got a minute to. But here's a little bit of a trailer.
Like it or not, it is what it is. And this is, especially in the English speaking world, this is what we're getting fed, is their perspective. And they have the piece of the pie right now. They just look at us like, oh, we poor us, we're second rate. They look at us as a feeder league, which we are. What they don't understand, maybe some of them do, and there are a couple that have actually hit on this point. But teams like Juventus, Barcelona, could be, and I know maybe not in Germany, but Bayern.
So yeah, that's just a little bit of a quick tidbit of it, but it is our recent double take video that we do have on the YouTube channel. So guys, go ahead, head on there, take a look at it for sure. And it's some really cool stuff on there too. It's a pretty decently long video. And we all did that. And Dave and I practically did that in one take too, which is pretty awesome. So no errors on that one. But oh, Peepo is here. Peepo, how are you? UFC 284 is tonight. That is right. Peepo, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win the main card? But going back to it, though, yeah, the video is going to be on our actual YouTube channel. It's a 17-minute banger for sure. So if you guys want to get some Super League talk on there, go ahead and take a peek at that one as well. And people's asking how I am. I am good, Peepo. Just missed Dave, but unfortunately, Dave just got pulled away tonight. So you guys have to deal with me. But one thing that I did want to start off also for sure before we kick off the stream is it is a special birthday. Technically tomorrow, which is today in a sense over there, but it is Sunday in Italy currently, and it is Nicolo Fagioli's birthday, everyone. So I'm using the official Juve page. Happy birthday to Nicolo Fagioli. So best regards brought by you, the Juventini. He turns 22 years old. So big happy returns on him. And hopefully he plays tomorrow. So that's going to be one thing I'm hoping for as well. But before that, I actually go into the pregame stuff and into the Fiorentina stuff. I kind of wanted to cover some of the news that's come out as far as the quotations of what's been going on in the wiretaps. And I think Cherubini's probably my favorite one. People, I don't know if Sule is injured or not. I haven't heard any reports or anything like that for Sule quite yet. But so the cool thing is so going back to the Cherubini quotes is so one of the quotes that he said, and this was about Demiral and Atalanta, where Atalanta was trying to purchase or loan Demiral initially, and Cherubini says, and I quote, "Our worst player earns the same as Atalanta's best. Zapata gets 1.8, and if we bought a dog, we would give him 3.5. People's asking for Moretti. Yes, it is Moretti with an ankle sprain. He is out for at least 3 weeks. So Moretti is the one with the ankle injury. But going back to the Cherubini lines, but yeah, he was kind of dogging out Atalanta there. And then there's this one where he actually dogs at Paratici, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. So he said, "We're arrogant in the market because of Paratici of 5 years. 5 years ago, he doesn't buy Higuain for 90 million. The old Paratici would buy Gabriel Jesus for 10 million and then sell him for 90." So he's just absolutely just ripping into people. There's one quote that he talked about that a lot of people were worried about, and it was about Chiesa. So he mentioned that he told Agnelli that he doesn't see Chiesa as a long-term player at Juve because his entourage is going to be asking for more money. So a lot of people were misinterpreting it and taking it as like a potential quote or statement saying that he doesn't view him as a long-term player. I think he does. I think what the issue is he's more concerned about the Premier League. The Premier League coming in and pulling him out because Liverpool was trying to create essentially lucrative packages to bring him over. And it's one of those things where, and we're actually going to cover this when we do our Super League video, but I pulled stats, numbers, and statistics of how much revenue Premier League teams get in comparison to other teams. And this is going to blow your guys' mind. What the 20th ranked team in the Premier League gets from the TV earnings is absolutely insane. It actually makes more than some of the league's champions, a relegation side. So it's ridiculous. But I don't think Carabini meant it per se, because I know Kevin had that question in our group chat that we were talking, and some of the concerns that he was having was that there was a potential for Carabini kind of like thinking of it that Chiesa's not a Juve player. I think it's just misinterpreted because again, we gotta really look at it from a translation perspective, and translations usually get blurred every now and then. All right, Peepo is asking people on the chat, have you noticed that when Juventus are playing and Dash is not on the stream, there is no party? And he says, I mean, no Dash, no party. In this case, it's technically no Dave, no party because he's not here. He's channeling his new John Cena look. But I did give you guys a Dave cameo, so Dave technically did show up, but it was a pre-recorded video. But already, so the one thing I'll do now is I'll start moving on to some of the pre-match pressers that was brought on by Allegri. So he had a pre-match press conference. He was asked a bunch of questions as far as players, Pogba. I have a clip about Pogba that I'll play as well, just because I know a lot of people were hearing what was initially said at the press conference, but I think there was a couple of translation errors. Beppe actually covers the translation error on his Twitter, so if you guys go on Twitter and take a look at Beppe's page, he'll actually translate it. I have the clip. I can tell you guys about it as well, but kind of answering some of the questions so far. So right now, one of the questions was, how many certainties has the last two victories provided? So Lazio and Salernitana. So Allegri responds with, they gave us two important victories. Tomorrow's a different game. Fiorentina are a team that runs and presses. It will take patience and order. So that for sure is one thing where we have to also take into account that Fiorentina is a very high pressing team, and it actually makes them a very dangerous team because Juve always struggle against teams that play the press. We've noticed it as well as with Champions League fixtures, as again, when we're playing Fiorentina, when we're playing Napoli, pressing teams currently seem to be Juve's kryptonite. So I'm very curious to see how they respond to it. The first game that they played in Florence, they actually handled the press very good, where they're able to break away and get that early goal, but then they sat down, and then Fiorentina's press just ended up swallowing them whole. Fiorentina, and I'll open up the FOTMA, but Fiorentina hasn't been, the most dangerous this season, but you could make the same argument for Monza and the Monza game. Look what happened there. So table placement wise, with the whole 15-point debacle, Fiorentina is literally right behind our heels. So this is, again, technically a rivalry game between us and them that we do need to account for. But having the two wins, especially the Salernitana win with Vlahovic getting a brace and an assist to help boost his confidence and get him back into match fitness, I think is something that's super, super beneficial and super helpful. And then moving on to the next question. Has Rabiot essentially confirmed to start tomorrow? Allegri responds simply with, it's not a safe bet. He's a player who's found his maturity at 27, and it happens in most players between 26 and 27 where players reach the peak of their career. He says Rabiot will play tomorrow. So that might just be a little bit of a wacky translation, but he is saying that Rabiot will be in the game. I don't think he's confirmed whether or not he started or not. The next question for Allegri is, how satisfied are you with the growth of the team? And then Allegri says this: we have to focus on the mini goals and the teams on ahead of us, which are Bologna and Udinese, because statistically on the table they are. Then we think about the Europa League. The team is doing a good job. They're progressing quite well, but we have to improve because I didn't like Salernitana's last 30 minutes, and we need a better performance to beat Fiorentina. So kind of saying again, it's coach talk, not really anything crazy. So the next question, and I think it's funny because you probably watched our stream because Dave and I talked about this. Is Danilo an essential player? And Allegri says, data says he's fine, and as long as he's fine, he'll play. Danilo manages to manage himself well, and he's becoming an increasingly important player. Coach talk, not really anything too big to dive in there. So the next question that gets offered is, and this one you guys might like this. Will the trident be seen tomorrow? And for some of you new viewers, the trident essentially is Dusan, Chiesa, and Di Maria. So Allegri responds with, I don't know because we've trained this morning, but the match is very long. They can play together, but I don't know if it's the right day. I'll decide tomorrow morning. So that's Allegri being Allegri. You know how he is. He's always coy, very, very to himself when it comes to certain stuff like that, especially with tactical surprises. He tried doing one against Napoli, didn't work out too well for us. So I think he's keeping his cards close to his chest on this one. And then the other question that Allegri receives is, does the team seem to have changed the attitude? So this is kind of talking about the mentality of the squad. So Allegri responds with, we need to improve the plays on the verticals and the diagonals. We have it in the feet and in these plays. The team is doing well in this, but we are far from what we can do. Now we're all back, and it's another sign so I can give Danilo rest too. But all those available are doing well. There is very good harmony between the squad, knowing that to get results, you have to work hard and respect your opponent a lot. You cannot ignore it. Otherwise, we risk doing what we did in the 30 minutes of Salernitana and Monza with the first. So he's talking a lot about the last 30 minutes of Salernitana and then the first 30 minutes of Monza, where it was disjointed and not really moving anything too crazy. So my thoughts on this, where he's saying that we need to improve the plays on the vertical. So I think he's talking about vertical passes. And better yet, why not throw Fagioli in to get those vertical passes sorted? I think a player like Fagioli can essentially assist with that for sure right now. And it might be a little bit time for a formation change as well due to certain personnel. But he's definitely talking about the final third balls have been not the sharpest. They haven't been bad, but they could be a lot better. So this one, this one stirred some controversy this morning, and everywhere was blowing up. So, big question: will Pogba be brought up? And Allegri says Pogba is not called up. He is in the pits. There isn't, I'm sorry to say, but that's the reality. He is working to become available again. Right now, I can't tell you when he will be back. Maybe in 20 days. I am the first to wait for him. So a lot of people were losing their minds on the 20 days. So a lot of the outlets and a lot of the people on Twitter were saying Pogba out for 20 days confirmed. So here's the clip again for you Italian speakers. You can listen to it, but I have kind of the raw translation that was provided by Giuseppe's Twitter. But this is
non so quando può tornare. Magari fra una settimana, magari fra una settimana no, magari fra 20 giorni.
So with that clip again, so I'll play it again just so you
In
guys
questo momento non
can
so
see
quando
it.
può
But
tornare. Magari fra una settimana, magari fra una settimana no, magari fra 20 giorni.
so this is him saying maybe he might be out for 20 days, maybe he might be out for 65 days. I don't know, but he's working to get himself in shape. So it's all speculation. There isn't a concrete confirmation that Pogba will be out for 20 days or et cetera like that. The current goal is to have him back for the Knots game for the Europa League and possibly, if that doesn't work, the weekend game following. It is a very, very complicated flexor muscle issue. And the thing is, and some of the comments that Allegri said as well about the knee or about Pogba, and I'll cover that really, really quickly, is so his thing about Pogba is this. So the question that's followed up is, has Pogba had a new injury or is he just following a standard path? So Allegri responds with, he's following a standard normal path. Coming from an external meniscus injury is a very annoying injury because until the knee settles in, it always gets irritated or it gets sore. They're monitoring him, and he's working on putting all of his effort into making sure that he can become available. But at the moment, he's not. So kind of talking about meniscus injuries is, again, your meniscus is your cushion in your knee. So regardless if you have a surgery, if you don't have a surgery, it takes time for your knee to settle into it. So the only way that you get your knee to settle into it is by doing activities that put stress onto it, that extenuate it, that expand it, etc. And your knee has to get used to it because, again, the buildup inside your knee is different. After you tear it, it's completely different. Even if you do surgery, even if you do a scope, even if you do anything to your knee, it takes time for it to settle. And as you're raising your intensity, there's new stresses that get put on the knee that the knee also has to compensate and essentially understand how it works. I know this because I had a meniscus injury that took me out for a while last year, or mine was a little bit more different than Pogba's. Mine was a little bit more severe, but it took me a lot of time to actually get used to putting my knee in certain situations or certain positions. So it takes time. Again, I don't have the professional medical staff that they do, but recovery is still the same thing. Doesn't matter if you're a multimillionaire, if you're not. Physical therapy is still physical therapy. So right now with physical therapy for Pogba, they're essentially saying that, hey, we need to evaluate him just to make sure that we feel confident in his knee. His knee needs to settle in because the thing is a meniscus injury is one of the most easiest injuries to re-aggravate. So if you're not careful, you can seriously hurt yourself when it comes to the meniscus. So Helicopter just chimed in. So, hey, Helicopter, how are you? Speaking of helicopters, Dave has to go work on a helicopter, so that's why he's not here. So he says, I think he just wants to leave me alone just because of the watch alongs. No, I'm just kidding. But Dave, seriously, we miss you. But anyways, going back to the Pogba injury. So, guys, it's normal for a meniscus injury. I know a lot of people are like, I'm done, terminate his contract. Relax. Take it easy. Don't lose your mind over it. The other question is that he was asked was about Bonucci. So the question about Bonucci was, how is Bonucci doing? Where is he? So he says Bonucci returns on Thursday for the Europa League match. Milik is still far away. Caio as well. On Monday, Bonucci will do training with the first team, and he will be available for the Europa League game against Nantes. So Bonucci is finally back. So that's some good news there. And then this is about the 15 points, but they asked him, how do you think the team reacted after the sentence? So Allegri responds to the sentence here saying, the boys were very good as all things, there is moments of adaptation. After the sentence in Naples, the blow came when we reacted to Atalanta. It's human. Otherwise, we tell ourselves falsehoods. So kind of just telling ourselves lies. The blow are now that the team found its balance, we have to set ourselves many goals. Tomorrow we need to do well. Fiorentina are down, but they can catch up with us. Like in Salernitana, we need to be good and take care of everything one step at a time, making sure that we're at our best and we have games to play. So it's again him kind of just saying, hey, we got to remain focused, just focus at the task at hand and just move on forward. And then there was the final question about Bremer. So he's asking, how's Bremer doing? How's Bremer feeling? Allegri responds with, Bremer wasn't excellent against in Cremona. He didn't do too well in Naples, but the player knows it too. When we do badly, we do it as a team, not just as individuals. So that's just kind of that's just a little bit of coach speak, not really anything too crazy per se, but pretty basic talk, not anything too nuts about it. And then Comicus says, hi, Juventini. Hey, Comicus. Welcome to the late night show. Ha. All right. So moving on. So there's a couple of things. So I'll actually start going on to the projected lineup that I have here for Juve Fiorentina that was brought by FotMob. I'll also talk about the potentials, and I'm going to pull up the tactic pad and I'll go over that as well as the potential that we've heard from Romeo Agresti and the other formation. But without further ado, y'all. Alrighty. So projected lineups for Fiorentina Juventus. So this one's going to be interesting. So this one's a 3-5-2 with Tech in the goal spot. And then we got Sandro, Bremer, and Danilo. holding the center back positions down. We got Kostic on the left, Rabiot as a left midfield or left center midfielder, Locatelli as the regista, Fagioli as the right center midfielder, Quadrado as the right back, followed by the top of the Fiorentina Brotherhood, Bromance, Broskis, Dusan, and Chiesa. So they're going to be going up against Cabral. They got Gonzalez, Bonaventura, Kuname, Duncan, Amrabat, Dodo, Milinkovic. We got Quarta and Biraghi and Tatarisano. So that's going to be the Fiorentina lineup. This game's actually going to be interesting, man. I got a feeling it is. So currently, again, right now, comparing stats, Cabral, Vlahovic, 8 goals to 3. Again, they don't have Mandogra and they don't have Igor. They are out on both of those guys. So some statistics here. Ranked 6th in goals scored per match. Juve's got 1.6 goals per match. We've also kept the most clean sheets in the competition with 13. Ranked 4th on, we're ranked 4th on shots on target per match. So 5 shots. It's actually a good stat offensively. So Fiorentina is ranked 13th in goals scored per match, 1.1 goals. Has not kept a clean sheet in 5 matches. Nicolas Gonzalez has the most shots on target for Fiorentina at 1.6. And that's interesting. So this is going to be interesting because the reason why I think this is a little bit more unique than what you would normally assume it is because Fiorentina normally runs a 4-3-3. They have swapped over to a 4-2-3-1. And the reason why I kind of brought this up a little bit is due to midfield constraints, Allegri is considering running a back 4 with a double pivot midfield. So what that is essentially, guys, and I will share that with y'all. And Dave's going to be kicking himself for it, but I love every minute of it because I get to brag it up because pulling up the tactical board, when you're running a double pivot, this is the potential. And I just got to change this out for Kostic. Remove Gatti. So it's going to be Bremer, Danilo, Quadrado, Di Maria, and then it's going to be Chiesa. So this is one of the rumors that we've heard and I've heard as well, and it was tweeted by Romeo Agresti as well. So a potential lineup that we might see is a 4-2-3-1 with Bremer and Danilo as your center backs, Quadrado and Kostic as your wing back or your respective fullbacks, and then a double pivot of Locatelli and Rabiot, and then you have Chiesa, Fagioli, Di Maria, and Dusan. So essentially becoming an effective 4-2-3-1. So that one's definitely something unique, and I kind of want to see it. I'm not going to lie, for sure, because I'm a big fan of this formation because it essentially gives you vertical balls through the middle. And most importantly, it helps you beat the press. And who likes to press? Fiorentina do. So guys, feel free to shoot your guys' starting lineups to all you guys that are currently watching right now, and I'll throw them up here on the board too. So once you guys go ahead, start drafting it in your lineups, and I'll throw them up, and then I'll also cover some more Fiorentina stats as well. Helicopter says, but the few times that we have seen Kostic as a left back, he has been really poorly. Mainly, I remember against Napoli. So that's a good observation. So some of the things that Allegri was mentioning and also have been mentioned as well as Allegri and training has also used Kostic as a left back recently to kind of help Chiesa out. Because the thing is he wants to figure out a situation where he can put Chiesa on the pitch and give him the wing, but without having Chiesa worry about the defensive responsibilities. So again, I think Kostic is just a preliminary throw up on there. The other thing I think also as well is there's a potential for Illing or DeCilio. I don't know. This is just some of the projected stuff that we've seen out there. So that's one of the things. And kind of going into some Fiorentina stats as well, because I was a little bit surprised when I saw some of these statistics. But if we look at Fiorentina overall, Table-wise, they're not really doing too hot. They're 6, 6, and 9. So they're below 500 essentially. So they've only got 6 wins, 6 draws, and 9 losses, and this is big. So a lot of people were talking about how Vincente Italiano is a hyper offensive coach, and he's, the next coming of Sachi and Pep Guardiola and a bunch of things like that. His record is terrible right now. His team cannot score to save their lives. So it makes you kind of wonder, was he successful because of Dusan, or was, the other way around? And I think right now, with Dusan not being there, I don't think his tactics were anything too crazy, because if you look at it, to have 23 goals scored and only 28 with this European style of play that a lot of people kind of tout you for isn't really a good look. So kind of looking at some of their recent results as well. So the recent result was against Bologna February 5th. They lost 2-1. So kind of pulling that game and doing a quick flashback on that one. So 2 goals, a penalty scored by Ossellini, and then Porsche at the 47th by the only goal scored by Fiorentina it's called Saponara. So looking at the stats down here. So Fiorentina, 1.3 goals expected, 17 total shots on target, 1 big chance created. That is terrible. You cannot have that many shots and only have a single chance created. So that means they're taking spam shots from all over the place. Bologna, with 11, got 4. That's Bologna is essentially creating more consistent shots or dangerous shots than Fiorentina was. Again, Fiorentina has all the possession but can't do anything with it. So if we look at these shots here, so this one outside of the box by Fiorentina by Brecolo. Terzic, again, outside of the box. So if you guys can see it, they'll actually illustrate here. Like if the ball lands anywhere, it'll highlight it here. But in this case, this shot was a block. So you can see right here where the line is. So this one, Bonaventura blocked. This one outside by Gonzalez. This one off the crossbar by Jovic. And I think that's probably the only big chance that they had. This one again off the post. This one, Gonzalez completely gets blocked out here. Again, Gonzalez gets blocked out. All right. And then Carbal, again, it's a save by the goalkeeper. Another save. This was a clear, blatant miss. Another really off miss. This one hit the post. Another shot blocked. So, kind of looking at it again. Total shots, 17 again. Shots off target, 7. 6 shots on target. And most of them, again, were routine saves for the goalkeeper. 4 blocked shots, 1 hit the woodwork, 10 shots inside the box, 7. You cannot have 10 shots inside the box and only score a single goal. That is not a good look. Offensively, that is not a good look at all. And that's the thing, too, that we've seen, especially with current results and form for Fiorentina, is they've struggled a lot. So again, let's look at this one. So this was one of the few instances that they scored 2 goals. So Jovic at the 65th minute, and then Icone at the 90th, with Camaro at the 90th as well. So looking at the stats again, 22 total shots against Torino, 3 big chances, 2 big chances missed. That is ridiculous. Offensively, if you are creating 22 chances and you only have 3 big chances, your offense isn't doing its job. And this is what Fiorentina has been all season. I'm not saying that we should take them lightly or think that, hey, let's move on to the next match. We're thinking about knots. No, that's not it at all. But I know, and a lot of Juventini were nervous about this game and were afraid of it, but I'm not. Am I saying that we're better than them? Yes. Am I saying that we should, take them lightly? No, we should respect them because they always give us a fight. For some reason, there is a deep-seated hatred for us from Fiorentina. But again, stats like this is something that has to show that, hey, Bremer, you have to be on your A game. Danilo, you have to be on your A game. Quadrado, you can't afford to make any mistakes. But as well here, it's Fiorentina is extremely wasteful with chances. Moving back to the next game, Fiorentina Lazio. Sarri's balls versus Vincente balls. Moving down here on the statistics as well. 45% possession from Lazio, 55% possession from Fiorentina. 17 shots. Only one big chance. Lazio, 13 total shots. 2 big chances. Again, moving here to a more descriptive thing. 17 total, 6 off, 6 on. 10 off, 1 on. Lazio and Fiorentina offensively have been disastrous this season. So, to be honest with you, if Fiorentina scores a goal against us, I'm going to be pissed. Because it makes no sense. Because unless we completely take a nap defensively and are just not there for it, it really is just, it'd be extremely disappointing. And then covering the last recent game that they did, their loss, I think was this a cup? Or did they play the reverse fixture? I think, yeah. No, Serie A round 19. Cool. All right, Fat Mob. Come on, don't let me down. And then, so kind of moving down here again, Torino 1, Fiorentina 0. So this was the original fixture. I just kind of go over the reverse fixture. So moving down here again, 19 total shots, 0 big chances. Let that sit for a minute. They did not create any issues for Torino at home. At home. That is ridiculous. So look at all of these shots here. Off target. Blocked. Blocked. Attempt saved by the goalkeeper. Off. Blocked. Blocked. Attempt saved by the goalkeeper. Blocked. Blatant miss. Blocked. These guys don't really know how to break down a defense. They just kick and pray. And if I were to show you guys the highlights of the game that they played us earlier in the season, and that stupid goal that they got against us was literally just because we forgot to mark people from a corner kick. 19 total shots, 8 shots off target, 6 on, 6 blocked. That is ridiculous. So looking at it from there as well, how is, and this is the thing that I find the funniest. 9, 1 big chance, they scored. That is literally Torino ball, especially with their coach currently, which I don't know why Ivanovic as their coach. So, look, and this isn't me coming after Fiorentina's coach at all here, but this guy was supposed to be Italiano was supposed to be a tactical genius, this offensive bright spot, but his teams can't score. Like, let's be real here. It's I haven't seen, and even here, like, for example, the only time Fiorentina got 6 goals was against Lugano. And that was a friendly. Monza 1-1. Sassuolo, they barely got through with 2-1. Sampdoria 1-0. Roma spanked them. Torino spanked them. Bologna, they lost to Bologna at home 2-1. So that's just interesting. And, like, for example, my favorite reference point is looking at Sarri, because Sarri's teams are very similar to the teams that Italiano plays, or the style that he plays. So if we look at our recent game with Lazio, it's almost clear as day, the similarities between Lazio and Fiorentina. So going down here at the stats. 11 total shots, 0 big chances. 12 shots, 2 big chances. And that game was a snooze fest. But that is insane. And Italiano ball is the same thing. And our buddy Juventus HQ is in the chat too. He says, "Bro, you're giving me too much hype." So, guys, if you don't know who that is, he makes really awesome reels for us, and he's really, really dominant. I believe is on YouTube and Instagram, but for sure, a lot of his work is on Instagram too. We do a lot of collaborations with Juventus HQ, so give our friend a follow. And also, if you're looking for video editing work, contact him because he's really, really good at what he does. So a lot of the reels that we do are made by him. So give him a good look. And then he also chimes in saying, "Bro, don't worry, they'll score against us. They always have." Yeah, they do actually. And this is my thing that pisses me off about Fiorentina. They always get some of the most cheesiest goals against us. Like super cheesy. Like even the one that they scored against us earlier in the season was frustrating because it was literally it took all of the things that they needed. But speaking of previous matches, let me pull that up for us real quick. So this one right here, this is the match that I was talking about in reference. That was just terrible, unfortunately. it was literally the corner kick and then 2 passes and they got through. This one, the 2-0 at the end of the season. Again, Juve wasn't really playing. We've already qualified and got our objectives, so I think we just coasted on that one. So that one didn't really matter that much. But looking at the games that do count, Coppa Italia, we won 2-0 at home with a Bernardeschi volley. I remember that. And then the first Coppa Italia match, we won with a Biraghi own goal at the death. In Serie A at home, we won 1-0 against them as well. And that was the Quadrato goal at the end. And then this one, it was the end of the Pirlo season, roughly. We tied 1-1 against them. I believe this was a Ronaldo goal at the end. It was a Morata or a Ronaldo goal that equalized it. Oh, Morata. So Vlahovic goes ahead with a penalty. Morata drops the goal there. This one, the 3-0 Fiorentina game. I remember that one. That one was an ugly game. Red card by Quadrato. Essentially ran right through us. So Fiorentina Juve games tend to be pretty decent, especially as of recently. But to be honest with you guys, there's no reason for us not to really go out and try to get the 3 points on this one. Like there really is no excuse. Fiorentina's grossly underperformed this season. And the jury's still technically out for us. And I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think if we underperformed or not. I think we're kind of right where we should be. I think there's some improvements that we can do. I'm not saying that we overperformed or we hit expectations, but I'm also not saying that we fell short of expectations. Because again, if we were to go back to the table here, the handy dandy table, and look at Serie A, so this is us with 26 points. You had the 15 points. We're in third place with a game to play. So I kind of had the thoughts that we would be second, possibly pushing for a title. So technically, with the 15 points, we would be there. So I don't think well, I don't think we're grotesquely underperforming, and I also don't think that we're overachieving. Kind of in the middle between the two thoughts there. But the interesting thing too is going over some of the results that happened this weekend as well. See if I can pull those up real quick. Some of the matches. Today was an interesting match for sure. Lazio absolutely sputtered against Atalanta, and just bear with me, guys, because I'm doing production while also speaking at the same time. So Milan finally got a win, going over some of these results over the weekend. So Milan finally got a win in like 7 weeks. So yeah, kudos to them. They beat Torino 1-0. Empoli and Spezia tied. This one was interesting. Lecce and Roma tied at 1-1. Wow. And then this game, this one I thought was intriguing. Atalanta goes to the Stadio Olimpico and slaps Lazio 2-0 like it's nobody's business. And tomorrow, obviously the match is tomorrow, Napoli-Cremonese. I think Napoli's going to try to get some revenge for that Coppa Italia exit. And then Juventus-Fiorentina, and then Bologna versus Monza, and then Udinese versus Sassuolo. So the one thing that I kind of wanted to briefly touch on before I kind of wrap things up here on this little faster show is the Lazio-Atalanta show. Lazio-Atalanta game. So moving down here, we've got some of these stats here, and I'm kind of curious to see. So Lazio, 13 total shots, 1 chance created. Wow. And then Atalanta as well, 23 and 4, and they missed 3 of those. So Atalanta should have scored more in a sense, but Yeah. Lazio look extremely woeful as well, and Fiorentina and Lazio are playing the same way, and these guys are just absolutely ridiculous right now. So that is ridiculous. I think Lazio and Fiorentina are going to underperform. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that Lazio is still technically in the table conversation. That makes no sense to me how they're up there, because Sarri ball is washed out ball. I think Sarri's done, in my opinion. But yeah, there they are, 6 points, two away from fourth, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But top four is definitely interesting. So depending on where the results of the case will go, we might be back up in the into the thick of things. So yeah, hey, Bones, you can say that. That is true, but at least Allegri ball is honest. Sarri ball is apparently supposed to be the most enchanting thing on the planet. But that's what the Prem-tards used to say back then. Same thing goes for Italiano ball. Like, I'm just going to say this. Italiano ball and Sarri ball underperformed this year. They really did. And it kind of makes you think, did Italiano, and I asked this question earlier, did Italiano really get carried by Vlahovic? Because right now it's starting to look like it did. But as we're wrapping up over here, so do you guys have any predictions for how everything's going to go tomorrow? I wouldn't surprise if it's a 2-0 win for us. That's the one thing that I'm definitely thinking about right now. So yeah, guys, go in the chat and definitely throw in what you guys are thinking, and we'll wrap this up here shortly. But yeah. And then also just kind of doing some good old brand advertising for the Boss Man as well. Is again, go on the Turin Giants store because you can get yourself some stickers. And then also get yourself some really cool sweaters as well. But all right then. So Francis HQ says, at this point, I would take all the points that we can. Yeah, that's going to be huge too. Getting as much as you can, because the thing is, again, with the trial essentially in March, so give or take 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what the verdict comes out, then we can definitely reposition where we are on the table. So anything can happen. Again, it's one of those things where you have to sit there and think, all right, we got to just play with everything that we have in front of us and just move forward. And then Helicopter says a 3-0 would be nice, even though it would be a tough game. Yeah, I would love to see a 3-0. The thing is, so here's the interesting thing about Fiorentina is if you guys can beat the press, if we can beat the press, we can open up Fiorentina really, really easily. Again, Fiorentina hasn't played against one of the top table teams, so we can't really mention them or kind of talk about how their form would look per se in that respect. But it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm going to see if we have like a reference game with Fiorentina playing against a higher ranked team on the table and see how they are defensively. So with Roma, the recent game against Roma, they dropped and lost 2-0. And that was, I believe, the Dybala show. Yeah, the Dybala brace against them. So that's one thing. So, and then looking back at that as well, let's see. So Milan beat them 2-1. So surprisingly defensively they've been pretty sound, but wouldn't hurt. Gaetano says, "Hey everybody." So what's up, Gaetano? And then tomorrow, Di Maria, Vlahovic, and Chiesa together. So that was a question that was asked at Allegri's pre-match presser. He said he's thought about it, but he doesn't know for sure. He said we've tried it in training, but I don't know if I want to use it quite yet. So again, that's just him being quiet about it and not deciding to use it. It's going to be probably a game time decision. So and then Bones chimes in and says, if we play like we did last game and not sit back after 1 goal, I think we're good. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, because the one thing, and it's definitely important, is how we're going to handle the press. If we can break through the press, Fiorentina gets stuck and caught in a bad position, and then Fiorentina just gets left out, and it's not good for them. But on the other deposition is, if we make mistakes and bad passes on the press, Fiorentina can cut us up and open us up really well. Kind of like that corner kick goal that they scored against us at the beginning of the season, where I believe it was Paredes or Di Maria doesn't really read the play really well, and it's 1-2 passes, and Fiorentina get a goal on us, and they equalize. But offensively, we just have to watch out and not make mistakes in the back, because Fiorentina, essentially how Fiorentina is working offensively is they're trying to go for misplaced passes, breakups, or any kind of high pressure situations where then they can fire a shot off and spam a shot. Because one thing for sure that's going to happen is Fiorentina is going to get shots. They're going to spam them. Even though we're at home, they're still going to go for it. So the best thing to do is make sure you play clean football and you try to draw as many Fiorentina players forward in our end and then counterattack back to try to get the opportunities from there. So that's going to be the way that they're going to play. So other than that, I think we're going to wrap this up shortly. Guys, if you have any last questions or any comments or concerns, go ahead and throw them in the chat as well. Also, remember to check out the Instagram and the Twitter page for a bunch of other Juventus content. And again, for some of the people joining in today, we were going to do some Super League talk, but unfortunately, Dave had to go take care of some business. So we're going to hold that conversation off until the next time we do a live, because essentially what it's going to be is we actually have a Sky Sports interview that we're going to pull up and we're going to do a live reaction to, and kind of give you guys our initial thoughts on it. And essentially, I've got a bunch of statistics and numbers about Premier League revenues and the data, because all of the people that were against the Super League, this new A22 Super League, was a lot of people that were more so, I don't want to say total Premier League people, but biased towards the Premier League. So Dave and I looked at a lot of stuff on that one, and I've got a lot of statistics and numbers that we're going to share, and it just wouldn't have been fair to Dave if I started showing some of those numbers and some stats now, because again, it's more fun with both of us. So it's going to be a fun show. So we're going to pull some stuff up from there as well. Bones is asking, are we going to do a watch along tomorrow? I think Dave's going to do a watch along. He didn't mention he wasn't, because I know he did a watch along this morning on the Discord with the Juve women's game. Because Dave, so normally, again, I'm going to throw that up here while I'm here. So if you guys hop on to the Discord, I think we have the QR code here, but it's going to be on the link as well in the description of the video. But if you go, yep, there we go, boom, barcode. So if you use the barcode over here and go onto the Discord, you can join our Discord group chat and talk to us. Dave does watch alongs for the Juve women and the next gen on there as well. He did mention, I don't think he's not going to do it, Bones. So there's still in the air, but I think Dave will, and I'm pretty sure Dave will probably do a tweet or something like that saying that he's going to do it. So before I close off, I told you guys in the double take video, if you guys watched it, that I would pull up some of the comments and we would talk about it. So I'm actually going to pull up some of the stuff here as well, and we'll go over it briefly. So give me 1 second. And all right, so some of the comments that we got on there is... All right, so KB chimes in onto the comments and says, I was never against the Super League. I was against the previous format. Now it sounds a lot more competitive. Screw the Premier League competition and the UEFA Mafia. That's funny. We got to love KB on that one. All right, and then Gaetano comes in with a quick question. So we have to be in 6th position by the end of March when they decide, or whether they want to remove or confirm the 15 points? Yeah. I think, yeah, at least 6th or 7th for sure. And I'm just kind of thinking of games that we have up and then potential, but because right now, Gaetano, we're at 26 and 6th place is 39. So it's almost 13 points. So we're going to need 13 points essentially to be there, and then we would move up. But again, right now, currently we're at 26. If we win tomorrow, we're at 29. So we would leapfrog, depending on Monza's result, we would pass Monza and have the potential to pass Empoli and potentially tie with Bologna. So if Bologna lose, if Empoli lose, if Empoli tie and if Monza tie, we'll essentially be 9th at the end of the match day, which is 3 points off, or 3 positions off the essential intended target to be. We need to be, so for example, if we don't win the Europa League or the Coppa Italia, for any shot at European competition, we need to be in 7th place for the Conference League, which is currently Torino right now with 30 points. So we're 4 points away from European spots, depending on whether or not UEFA or Serie A want to screw us over on it, but definitely need to be a little bit closer there. All right, so then kind of just moving on with the other comment as well. I'll read one more comment and then I'll just close this off. No point in dragging this out. So Niket says, I'm all for the Super League if they stick to a strict financial caps and some sort of profit sharing. So the playing field is even between small clubs and big clubs. There should also be incentive for clubs to make better fan experiences in stadiums, not having a track around their stadium. Napoli. So that one's a good question. And we're actually going to cover that in our Super League live stream as well. And then Gaetano says, I watch Atalanta, Lazio, and Rome. If we have if we have to win, we recover points from these teams. Yeah, for sure. And then our buddy Nilesh from Juventus HQ says, question, Dave Dash. If the soccer league comes to, or the European Soccer League, what's going to happen to the Champions League? I mean, will teams participate in both competitions or abandon the CL and the left out teams to play in the CL? So it's an interesting question for sure. So this is a really funny analogy that Dave left on here on the comment, saying that Champions League and the European Soccer or Football League, or the ESL, is essentially WCW versus WWF in the 90s. So it's essentially two brands or two separate competitions that teams would then say, hey, I've got an invite to go to this one, an invite to go to this one. So like, for example, let's say Chelsea or Manchester United, because they're not part of the developing company and they're their own thing. So UEFA Champions League would offer them something, and then the soccer or the ESL would offer them something, or the EFL. Then you would have essentially what would happen is then Chelsea would have to explore which one to go to, which competition to go into. So essentially what it is essentially it's a brand split. So you as a team, you're picking which one you want to go into. You can either go into the UEFA or you can go into the Super League. So there is another question here. So Oscar Hannibal, our buddy Hannibal, says, this is, and we kind of covered this in the video. So again, guys, context, go ahead and check the video on the YouTube for the ESL. But Hannibal responds by saying the most evil rivalry would be us versus Liverpool. Those bleeps, I hate those bleeps for their history that they did to some of the Juventini. So it's actually interesting because that was something that was done in the 80s. So a lot of the young Juventini actually know about it and are really, really passionate about it. So that's actually really cool. So I'm going to hit the music. I'm going to cut it off. We did 52 minutes, so I think that's enough. So anyways, guys, do the old house honors, do the good old like, the good old comments, the good old subscribing, and probably be doing a watch along, and then just giving you guys some programming updates as well. So Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Italian time or European Central Time, we'll be on the Juve Twitch where we'll be talking with Beppe about post Fiorentina, and we'll be talking about Knots as well. And we're going to be talking some fun stuff with Beppe too. And then we will be, I believe Beppe is going to be covering that on the Juve Twitch, the Knots watch along. I think Dave's going to do a watch along for the Knots game. I'm not too sure yet. But other than that, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Forza Juve. And we'll see you later, guys.